We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on the Miami Dolphins offense versus the Giants. And let's just take a moment to appreciate how special this offense is. We haven't really seen anything like this in a very long time, just in the NFL, especially for the Dolphins. They're on a special historical pace for what they're doing. This isn't just a fluke. It's been 5 games, and they continue to move the ball really, really well. It's just the perfect combination of, your quarterback, the system that's being called, and then the personnel you have. It just runs like a well-oiled machine. Now there's some few kinks they got to get worked on, like big turnovers in this game, which were definitely a problem. But even with those, the game still never got close, and those are potential game-changing plays in a lot of games. Thank God they came versus the Giants, a lesser team, but they were just doing whatever they wanted. This was Mike McDaniel was in his bag this game, setting these plays up, doing pretty much a lot. They got a lot of yak in this game, which is new for this offense. Doesn't always happen, which is nice to see. And just getting your players the ball, how he uses them in so many different ways. Achane, so explosive still. Getting him involved on this reverse here. Look how he sets this up. You have Robert Hunt pulling to the side here. Jalen Waddle giving him some fake action this way, and then angled loops back around. He takes his first step this way and then winds back. So then everyone's keying this. Linebackers, they're keying guards, the off-ball tight ends at times, and the flow's going all this way. Achane comes around, and then look at the O-linemen out in space. They're all moving. Austin Jackson, Connor Williams, they're throwing out blocks, and then you get Achane, who's amazing working horizontally. I feel like he's the best on the team when it comes to these reverses, because he's really good at from going horizontal to then transitioning downhill very smoothly. He will stick a foot in the ground and then just accelerate through. He's such a smooth athlete. Honestly, what Achane is doing is super, super special. That's not a fluke anymore. There wasn't just wide open holes. Sometimes with wide open holes, the O-line deserves a ton of credit for this offensive success. They're so much better with Connor Williams in there. They look great, especially run blocking. But this combination that was happening in this game from all the players, minus a few errors, which I'll definitely get to, things they got to clean up on, but they look so, so good. It's honestly such a fun time to be a Miami Dolphins fan. As I was mentioning earlier, the yak in this game was really good, which I think is such a big thing to talk about, because it's always been a narrative when it comes to Tua that the Dolphins is a big yak offense. But if you really look at last year, they weren't at all. This year's been a bit better. They're more middle of the pack. But this game, if they can have this much yak, just have games where they're pretty much just going down the field throwing screens. That's what I really liked about McDaniel's game plan. He was running reverses, jet sweeps, and then the third play, just a quick screen to Jalen Waddle, motion Mostert across, fake the jet sweep. They ran the jet sweep the play before to Tyreek, and then just great blocking out in space by the offensive linemen. Good job by the receivers. Everyone out there flying. Really good work. Austin Jackson doesn't end up getting a block here, but look how he's moving, bro. Gotta give some respect. All offensive linemen are not moving like that. Lots of respect to Austin Jackson for how his play has improved. Love the setup with all this. It just flows, giving the ball to your playmakers in space. And if we can, the Dolphins get more yards after catch on a consistent basis, they don't always have to throw the ball 15 yards down the field, which they will still do, and they do it successfully. But having this element added to your offense, they become even more dangerous, and they're already the most dangerous offense in the league. Great read here from Tua. Dolphins going to their bread and butter RPO, the seam rail slide, and he's just, boom. Look how quick this is. This stuff is really special, that things go unnoticed, because they're just going to see, oh, he's throwing to an open receiver. First of all, he's got to make a quick read. He's reading this defender. If he gets out leveraged to the flat, if this guy doesn't pass him off, so he's got to make a couple decisions here, right? He sees the corner stick here with this receiver, so he's just got to read this guy. He's leveraged stays so far to the inside. Look how quick he reacts to this and gets himself set and just delivers the ball. And then also the placement of it. Gives him the ball right in chest, right in stride, which gives Cedric a chance to, make some work after the catch to maximize those yardage. That is an amazing quick read from Tua. He's such a good player on the RPOs. And this wasn't Tua's best game. He made a couple decisions that are bad. You just got to make sure, everyone's going to have negative plays. Every team's going to have negative plays. The offense had negative plays in this game, and it was only a few total, but the few negative plays were really bad turnovers. You just got to make sure that your negative plays don't turn into those really game-changing plays down the line. Here, we get the Waddle touchdown. Tua working off script. He's working to the bottom. It's not open on the out. They're running man-to-man too. Good coverage by the Giants. And then Tua able to escape the pocket. Great ball placement, great adjustment, and going to high point the ball from Waddle here. And he just puts this ball in the perfect spot away. The defender has no chance to make a play, and then Waddle just high points, body control, great adjustment. You can see him going above the frame. He's got some explosiveness to get up there, and nice to see Jalen Waddle get back and get into the end zone for the first time this year. Just a huge part of this offense that still hasn't been used to his highest potential yet this season, and they're still going crazy. Dolphins on a 3rd and 3. They pick this up, running some mesh here. Dolphins ran a lot of mesh in this game, getting the ball, on these draggers, because Giants run a ton of man-to-man, like I said in that video. They run the mesh with Berrios sitting behind it like this, and they get the ball to Tyreek man-to-man. They actually kind of run into a problem later in the game. One of the, I think to his second interception, comes on like this exact same route concept, but they run zone instead of man, and they get a little pressure on him. And as you'll see, like the difference on those plays, but nice to see them, like when it worked versus man, but then they struggled a little bit versus zone because of some pressure that happened and just slight mistakes that they need to definitely clean up. But this offense they were moving the ball at will when they wanted to. Just got to make sure they don't have those turnovers. Achane, he's been so good. Probably his first negative play of the season was this fumble, and it was still him running for like an 8-yard run. He's just tried to break a tackle. Running backs got to work on their ball security, because even Mostert fumbled earlier on in this game and went out of bounds, so I didn't even show it because it's just a pretty basic play. Mostert did bounce back though from that. He also had a good game. I know, Mostert's had one really bad game versus Bills, but the rest of his games have been really solid. He's still averaging over 5 yards a carry, which is insane. I do like the initial part of this play, outside zone lead, him setting off the block, pressing up into angle, and then getting upfield, making, breaking a tackle here. Everything looks really nice to begin with. Just got to ball security. And these things happen. Hopefully he learns from it. He's still a rookie. And, I mean, he definitely bounced back from it. He clearly has a strong mental game, because you'll see what he does. I mean, probably what he does, but I'll show that play pretty soon here. Giants go cover 2 man. Really like this play from Tua, because Isaiah Wynn kind of gets caught lacking there, and he has to break up into the pocket. Nice to see Tua still creating off script on a lot of plays. He had a pretty good game creating on the few times he needed to. I think Wynn got a little caught off guard. I just think he misunderstood the pass protection, because he starts to slide to the right, and I think he expects someone to like come in here, and I think he thinks Lamb's gonna slide with him, and then Smythe's gonna get control there. So just a miscommunication up front, but good job by Tua. Look how he manipulates with his eyes too. Look at his body staring a little to the right, and then throw it back to the left so that linebacker can't get away with his throwing lane. Just high level work there from Tua creating and Tyreek getting open. And then the bounce back Achane run. His speed, it just had so much value to this offense. Like, you think the offense looked amazing without him, right? In the 2 weeks he really didn't play, and they did look amazing, but he has this element to this team that is so special in so many different ways. And I mean, this play, like, that hole was huge. Got to give credit to that O-line, as we'll see here. This is like teach tape outside zone blocking scheme. Like, you show this to your offensive line, like, this is perfect how it's set up. They also get exactly what they want, the look up front, because everyone has their leverage advantage to win, as you'll see. And we'll look and give everyone some credit here. Just look at this beautiful play. Just going to go back here. Hunt seals off. Both guards are able to reach and seal off, get their leverage perfectly executed by both guys. Williams, Austin Jackson both climb to the linebackers, get enough on them. Lamb also climbs to that DB. Smythe is able to kick out Thibodeau. Cedric Wilson's out blocking his corner. Achane just got to make a quick read, hit through this hole, and if he's hitting through a hole at full speed like this with this much room, this DB's screwed. He's trying to look at his angle here. He has his inside lever. This is where the safety is supposed to be, like a step to the inside and then force him to the outside. But Achane is so fast. Look at this, bro. This is insane. When he's right here, he turns to go like at a 45-degree angle, and he accelerates. Running backs do not do this other than like Chris Johnson, a handful of players. His ability to get completely lateral like this and accelerate around is actually like such a unique ability to have. Like he is so insane for this offense and the things that he's able to do. And look how they've evolved the cheat motion. They've used it in so many different ways. Tyreek Hill lined up short, and then boom, bring it back, and then you get the screen. It gets everything overflowing. Look at all these defenders, and then you get the cutback lane. Tyreek, I know everyone's saying he got caught. It's a little bit different than the Achane one. Like, those other players had angles, and he had to cross the field. Usually, most people are getting caught in those scenarios. It's just more of the angle. But yeah, just great play design, great setup, good work from everyone out here. Smythe, Berrios, Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, they're all sealing out, and then you just leave it the rest to Tyreek to go out in space. Now, this drive didn't finish how they wanted, as you'll see, but just still, if this yak stays in this offense, they're going to be more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Achane again, he honestly could have scored on this play, the behind the back, shotgun, outside zone type of, sweep play, getting him to the edge. They do this in so many different ways. This is how they really spread the field horizontally, because they have been a vertical attacker. Everyone does a pretty decent job. Good work. Cedric Wilson actually did a really nice job blocking in this game. Look at him hooking that guy to the edge. Smythe and Jackson trying to get involved out there. Achane's just not able to break that one tackle on space, just gets tripped up just enough. And if he scored there, obviously it would have been great, but they just weren't able to finish after this. Then after an unsuccessful run on first down, and then probably a PI on second down, Tua just makes a bad decision. Nothing really, I think he just pre-snap decides where he should go with this ball. He's trying to read this guy, and I think he thinks he gets far enough to the outside here where he can try to squeeze this in, and he's not seeing this linebacker. It's just nothing's open. He's trying to force this ball, and it gets tipped up, caught, pick six, going the other way. Just not a good decision by Tua, trying to force it in. Yeah, probably just an overconfident type of throw. He just does this sometimes where he has full trust within the system, and he'll try to make these throws based off his pre-snap reads. I think that's sort of the narrative where that one read QB comes from, because he can definitely get through his reads. We've seen it many times where he does. There's just times where he decides, I think, pre-snap exactly what he's going to do, and that will lead to plays like that. And it also leads to amazing plays, because he does a great job of reading defensive pre-snap. It's just a lot harder to do these things down in the red zone because things tighten up. But he responds pretty nicely before halftime. Didn't get a ton of work. Giants come out looking like either cover 2 or cover 6, and he just hits Berrios out. He's just reading the leverage. He has the natural outside leverage. This defender is squeezing up to 2 enough. He throws this with a good ball placement to Berrios. I like that, to that inside shoulder, to turn him around, allowing him to transition up the field. Him and Berrios stay on the same page, converting a lot of those first downs. Then we got Jalen Waddle at the bottom of the screen. He hit a slant to Cedric Wilson, got some plays involved. This is an absolute dot to Jalen Waddle. Giants are in quarters, and look how he just places this perfectly. This is, the Tua when at his best, when he's able to just be in rhythm, 3-step drop, hit this ball down the field. That's hitting it into a keyhole. A nice catch by Jalen Waddle to make those catches in traffic. Look off the linebacker to the right, make this big throwing lane, and putting it absolutely perfectly to get down the field. Then the very next play, Giants playing quarters to the top of the screen over here, and then look at this corner, right? He tries to jump this. This is great ball placement too. This guy has inside leverage. He knows he's got to go with the ball here quickly. Him and Cedric got to be on the same page. And look where he puts it, to the back shoulder of him. Keep him away from this corner because he's trying to jump hard to the inside after that quick slant, last play. That's great ball placement. And Cedric at least, shows a nice IQ to at least attempt to get out of bounds here, and also just adjusting to it. Tua. I think Cedric had a pretty nice game. Nice to see him making more of an impact, especially with Craycraft and Ezukanma out. Unfortunately, this sack here by Thibodeau basically forces them to kick a field goal before half. Nothing really open, just Lamb gets beat. These things happen. Tua doesn't really have time to process this. I think Lamb just gets a little far, like Thibodeau does his sort of signature move. He gains a little too much depth, I think, here, and gets caught off balance just a slight bit, and then gets opened up just enough for Thibodeau to get to the inside. Didn't have enough power in that specific play. But other than that play, I think Lamb played pretty well overall. Got to give him some credit. First game back, he had a pretty tough matchup going against this Giants front. And, as long as he can play at least a solid level while Armstead is out, this O-line will be fine. It's a much bigger loss if they lost some other players, because Lamb's at least a capable backup. But, if they lose Connor Williams, that changes the entire offensive line. And then first play out of the half, Tua, he made some mistakes, and he just tries to chuck it, man. Making a very risky throw. Got to give him credit. That's an absolute dime down the field to Tyreek. It's not open. Giants are in cover 2 man, and they try to come out of half and just chuck the ball down the field. This is, dead over here, basically has this bracketed. They're both basically bracketed down the field. Even the checkdowns aren't open. There's nowhere for him to really go with the ball. But, he's got balls. Got to give Tua that. Risky throw, but at least it didn't turn into, getting tipped up and intercepted. Good blocking up front from the O-line, too, to give him time. And he does a good job of sliding, finding that throwing lane. And this is a dime. That goes right over that guy's hand. It hits Tyreek right in the left hand. That is an absolutely beautiful throw. I just don't think he should have made it. Absolutely amazing throw. Like, this Giants corner rotated over late, then gets pressed with Tyreek. And Tua sees this. He sees a middle high safety. This safety, if he sits down, like he doesn't drop back, it's exactly going where he wants to. So he looks it off. He sees the safety stays middle of the field, doesn't rotate over. So he knows he has middle of the field unless this guy randomly drops back, which doesn't make any sense in any type of coverage. So he knows he gets exactly what he wants. He holds him, boom, with a bunch of touch. Like there's certain situations where you need to throw a touch. This is a perfect time where he can sort of throw a little bit more of a laser type vertical throw, which allows him to hit Tyreek right in stride. And Tyreek, it's very hard to overthrow him. Catches it, big time play, and that's the type of thing, you know, this offense can score in so many different ways. The long run, a long touchdown, getting a big yak plays, scoring in the red zone. They can really, really do it all. Giants go cover 2 this time on this 3rd and 4. Remember that 3rd and 3? They run basically the exact same concept. The mesh down below, Barrios sitting in behind it, and it just doesn't work as effectively this time. He also gets pressured pretty quickly here up front. He tries to avoid this slide. I just think it's a combination of things. This first pick is all Tua's fault. You know, the Achane fumbles, all Achane's fault. This one's a little more of a combination of things, I think. Like, they only bring a 3-man pressure, and you should not, when they bring 3-man pressure, like, obviously things are not going to be open right away, but you got to give your quarterback a little more time when you have 5 guys to block 3. It just gets, you know, he feels it a little bit to the outside. He probably should have stepped up, but this guy was coming in free late to bring, like, a 4-man. And then I think him and Waddle just not on the same page. His hand, he's also not able to follow through because his hand hits the back of Connor Williams right here. He probably could have waited an extra second and maybe found Barrios or Smythe. If Smythe sat down, which he does, he probably thought he was going to float into this. And it just goes over. Waddle doesn't see the ball. If Waddle sees the ball, maybe he can get up and get his hand on it. So just like a little bit of a miscommunication. He's also not able to really throw it to where he wants to because of the pressure. And then he makes a poor decision to really throw that anyway. So it's a combination of Tua, the blocking, Waddle, not being on the same page. Not as bad as the first one, but really got to limit these negative plays from being game changers because this versus a better team will not be very helpful because that offense is kind of the hard carry of the team. They just use Achane to really stretch these teams horizontally. Like, this is the best I've seen an edge play this, and he still had no chance. They always leave him unblocked. And, like, let me go back and watch this. I'm playing it too fast. But they always leave him unblocked, and he still has no chance to get him. His speed is too insane. Like, this edge that's unblocked would have to shoot upfield so fast once he sees this, but they can't just do that every play because a bunch of times this is just, you know, a fake out, just a fake jet sweep. If he just shoots upfield right away and just guesses, that will work sometimes, but what if they just fake that and then, you know, run right in behind it, then he takes himself out of the play, then they would have a huge run down the field. But even this, he plays it pretty well, gets upfield pretty nicely, and look at him just, you know, get his angle back to the outside. Cedric blocks down, does just enough. Then you get Smythe out in space. Achane, you could tell it was a little tired at this point in the game, but that effect on those jet sweeps in the reverses, it's just really insane how it has affected these defenses. Got to give Mostert some credit. I really haven't shown any of his plays yet, but this was probably his best drive. He had another long run, called back from holding, and he was running hard on this drive. He has another run down into the red zone. I'll show his touchdown here to finish it off too, and after that, it's basically open. Dolphins offensive line doing a great job with some blocking. I think Connor misreads this as well. I think he should be climbing up to 24. And I think he's trying to combo down and get to here. But even then, Mostert does a great job. First of all, look at Hunt. Look at him just toss this guy out the club. Jackson kicks out. Everyone does their job. I think Connor just makes the wrong decision here. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to climb to 24. That makes the most sense from a logical perspective. Everyone else does a pretty good job. And then Mostert gets his one-on-one in space, gets skinny, dips around it. That's a safety, so, I mean, maybe he wasn't concerned about it. But he does end up, you know, clipping out the other safety. And then Lamb is able to cut this off. Really high-level play from Kendall Lamb. Look how he's able to, like, work behind this. I think he just makes an adjustment here. Like, he looks like he might combo with this, but he just floats behind Win to get a better angle on this guy. So once Mostert makes this guy miss in space, he's able to cut that guy off. And then Raheem has, you know, the Jets gets tripped up. But really just all around some pretty great work from the O-line and Mostert making that first guy miss in space. Last play, then break down the Raheem Mostert touchdown run that basically sealed it for the offense. They had, you know, some plays after this, but this is basically where the game ended. They just started running out the clock after this. But just a hard run from Raheem, how they set this up. Just everyone sort of down blocking. Jackson get out in space. They pull up Smythe through almost like a lead blocker and just creates this one-on-one with him in a safety, and he just drops his shoulder into him. Just hard running by Raheem. I feel like he was running really hard after that game last week, and seeing what Achan's doing. There's just that competition in that backfield, and love to see these players all playing at a very high level. This offense, super, super dangerous. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You'll see other videos throughout the weekend. Peace. Yeah, peace.